Story time about how my boyfriend tried to cheat on me with my fake Instagram account, not knowing it was really me. Disclaimer, is not my story time, was sending me on Instagram. The funny thing is that when my boyfriend and I got together, I did not want the relationship. He begged me for 6 months to be his girlfriend. And you see, the only reason why I didn't want to was because I knew that he was a player. Every single one of my friends had basically gone out with him. I was just the last girl in the group to go out with him because I always kept saying no. And looking back, he was definitely obsessed with me because I never gave in to him. I was the girl that he couldn't have. During those 6 months, he would hit me up on Instagram every single day. Anytime I posted a story, he would automatically reply to it. He would like and comment on all of my pictures. We also had a lot of mutual friends, so we would end up at the same events and parties. And every time that he would see me in public, he would zero in on me. He would basically ignore all the other girls at the party and make me feel like I was the only one there. And he would constantly compliment me and tell me how beautiful I was, how attracted to me he was, how I was just so different from all the other girls that he had gone out with. Trust me, I knew that he was love bombing me, but eventually after 6 months, I was like, he's gotta be honest. So I decided to give him a chance. And let me tell you, he has been the perfect boyfriend. He's so sweet and considerate.
I talk fast because I'm scared that you'll lose interest in what I'm saying. I cut out valuable parts of my stories because I don't think anyone cares about them. I sometimes think that if I take a breath, someone will interrupt me and I will be left with a half story hanging in the air until someone would be kind enough to bring the conversation back to finish it. I've been asked a question before while someone was driving, and before I was done answering his question, the person sitting in the front seat next to him gave a look and whispered, "See what I mean? She's still going." I could see her facial expressions clearly, and I know what someone looks like when they are annoyed at me. I was so taken aback that I stopped mid-sentence and instinctively apologized. The girl in the passenger seat tried to backpedal with words like, "Oh no, I wasn't talking about you, please finish." I don't even know why I jumped so quickly to apologize. Too often have I felt like a burden in a conversation, especially when I'm excited about a topic. So when people abruptly change the subject while I'm in the middle of speaking, I tend to take it a little more personally because of my insecurities of being the talkative one. But I'm learning to be okay with taking up space. And finally, I'm learning that the people who want to listen will listen, and the ones who don't want to listen are probably not worth talking to in the first place.
Storytime are the most dirtiest college roommate ever. By the way, we're calling her Jessie. So I moved in before Jessie and I get settled and decorate. The next day, she comes and throws her bag on the bed, then leaves. I thought it was weird because she didn't even say anything to me. Couple hours later, she comes back and I'm like, hello? And she's like, my bad, and comes give me a hug. She smelled very bad. She starts unpacking all of her clothes and blankets, but they smelled like mildew. Anyways, a week later, there's this party going on for freshmen, and she goes, but I stay in because I had a migraine. I told her that when she comes back, can she keep the light off? Now it's 2 a.m., and she comes back in very loud, uses the bathroom, then goes to sleep. And now I'm up, so I got up to use the bathroom too. When I sit down on the toilet, I feel something very squishy. It was dark because, like I said, I had a migraine. I get up, turn the light on, and I was sitting in her shit.
So for the first time in a really long time, I actually had something scary happen to me last night. So I was up really late because my boyfriend's in Vegas and their time difference is 2 hours behind. And he goes to bed really late. So for the past few days, I've been staying up till 4 a.m. until he falls asleep. So last night I decided I wanted to get some food, a late night snack. And at this point, I think it's like 2 a.m. And in my basement, I hear some rumbling and fumbling, but nobody's down there. Everybody's asleep. I don't have any pets. My dog's dead. I don't have any pets. So I'm in the kitchen listening, and my kitchen is right here, and like the stairs to the basement is right there, and like my house is low-key empty, so you could hear everything. And I start hearing little whispers, a little. So I'm sitting there eating my snack, and I hear that shit, and I pause the YouTube video I was watching, and I start hearing footsteps come upstairs. So I sat in my backyard for the rest of the night, up until like 3 a.m., and then I went inside and went to bed.
Today I messed up by asking my fiance to share a secret. Last night, I, 30 male, suggested that my fiance, 28, and I tell each other whatever secret we might still have in order to purge ourselves before our wedding coming up. We were both in bed, almost asleep, so I didn't really expect an answer from my fiance at that time of the night, let alone a serious one, until she decided to tell me that she used to be a bully in high school. I laughed when I heard the word bully because I struggled to imagine my fiance being mean to others, even as a teenager, but the more information she provided, the quicker I shut up. At first, most of the details she described were messed up but forgivable in my opinion, like tormenting girls who couldn't stand up for themselves, hooking up with boys who were in relationships, spreading lies about others, etc. However, my fiance mentioned something that she did back in those days that made me instantly regret initiating this topic. She said that she SA'd multiple boys in high school. One of those poor boys she practically forced into it against his will. According to her, the boys were all younger and more vulnerable, which was part of the appeal, as she put it. She made it clear to me that none of it was consensual. My fiance began crying and asked me to say something. Not gonna lie, I struggled to speak, but once I was able to open my mouth, I asked if she made any attempts since high school to find the boys, who are obviously adults now, and at the very least apologize to them. My fiance said no and got even more emotional. I suggested that we do what we can to locate each of the men that she's victimized and arrange to meet them if they allow us. I made my fiance understand that I respect her courage and honesty, but I'm gonna need time to process what this means for our relationship going forward. She asked if I'm still gonna marry her, and I said I honestly don't know, which made her promise to go above and beyond to reach out to the victims and reconcile as soon as possible. I promised to be there every step of the way as long as she's not doing it to save our relationship. This morning, my fiance gave me the name of one of the boys that she essayed. She asked me to give her some time to work up the courage to contact him. On one hand, I'm sympathetic towards my fiance, but on the other hand, I'm unable to see the monster that she had inside of her this whole time. I have no idea where we go from here.
So today I went to church to confess one of my most recent sins to the priest. So I sat in the confession booth. I told the priest, I said, "Father, I have sinned," and the priest wanted to hear all about it. So I said to him, I said, "Father, last night I almost cheated on my wife." And the priest goes, "What do you mean you almost cheated on your wife?" So I told him, I said, "Father, I was in a room with another girl. We got naked and all we did was rub each other. We didn't actually do anything." My priest turns to me and goes, "Rubbing together is the same thing as putting it in. Now for your sins, you must never see that woman again. You must say 5 Hail Marys and put $50 into the donation box." So anyway, I tell the priest I'm not going to see the girl again. I say my 5 Hail Marys and I walk out the door. So all of a sudden, my priest comes running after me saying, "Hey, I saw you. You didn't put $50 into the donation box." I looked at him and said, "Yeah, I did. I took the money and rubbed it against the box because it's the same thing as putting it in."
So I've been messing with this guy on and off for 4 years. And in this 4 years, I've been around a lot of his friends. And a lot of his friends have tried to talk to me. And I'm not saying that me and this man are like super serious, because we're not. But like it's like an on and off thing, like I said. So it's like I see him when I see him. And it's all love, right? So during quarantine, I stayed with him for like a 2-week period. Like I was with him for a minute. And like his friends had definitely seen me around because obviously I was there for him. And like I said, we weren't like super serious or anything, but like also I fuck with him. So I've recently been seeing him a lot more in these last like, in this last year and a half, I've been seeing him a lot more. So I have been running into his friends again. So his friend, I guess, was tired of trying to chase me and tired of hearing no. So he offered me a large sum of money or whatever I wanted. And I said, no, I'm not interested. So this man was literally flabbergasted that I said no. And he was like, well, anything you want, just name it, like anything, I'll give you whatever. And I'm like, no, like I talked to your friend and I'm not interested in messing around with you. And he's like, am I ugly? Like he just didn't get the picture. He was just like, I don't understand. So he kind of leaves it alone. I see him out and about again. And he then approaches me again. Like, I can't believe it. I don't understand. Like what kind of dumb girl are you to not fuck with me if I'm offering you whatever you want? And I'm like, so because I'm not taking your advances, you think I'm a dumb girl? Like, no, I just actually, you can't buy me. That's what it is. And I just respectfully told you that I mess with your friend. So I then see this man again, and he has the literal same dialogue with me, but this time there's multiple people around. And there's a girl that I'm with, and I fuck with her, but like she doesn't need to know my personal business. So he gets irritated, and I tell him, don't say this in front of other people. Like, this is my business. And he's like, it's my business too, and gets mad again. So I recently run into him this weekend because it was the guy's birthday that I was talking to. It was his birthday this weekend. So he had a couple little things, and I was out and about, and I saw him sitting down, and he got up, he stood up, and he wasn't sitting in the chair for a while, and my feet had hurt because I was in heels. So I go to sit down, and he was like, nah, get the fuck up. So I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, you don't have to talk to me like that. You weren't using the chair. Well, you can ask. You have to ask. Part 2.
One, two, three. I've been running from the pain, trying not to feel the same, but it's a shame that we miss again. See, my confidence is shaking and my heart is feeling vacant, so you try to fill it in. You said I could fix the broken in your heart. Your words saying, darling,
about how my boyfriend and best friend were sneaking around behind my back. So a little background information, I was 15 and in 10th grade. So my mom and dad were split up and I was pretty much allowed to do whatever I wanted because of that. So I was dating this boy named Jacob. Well, my best friend Alice literally hated him. Like low-key, every once in a while, she would try to break him and I up. And when I would call her out on it, she would just deny it. Anyway, so the one day I didn't go to school because I was super sick. So the whole day I was trying to text Jacob and Allison, but nobody was answering me. Which was extremely weird because no matter what, Allison would always text me back. So after I knew the school ended, I went to Allison's house. Nobody was answering the door, so I used the spare key. I walk in and all I hear is a very loud banging coming from her bedroom. So I walk in, I see my boyfriend and her together, and then he starts saying that she drugged him. So I went on his phone, I see a bunch of old text messages between him and her, and them exchanging pictures. And then sis wants to start giving me an attitude, so I punched her in the face, and then I left and I don't talk to either of them.
Okay, story time. So I work at a jewelry store, and today a man came in looking for a gift for his wife for their 10th year anniversary. He ended up picking out a piece that said, "My beautiful wife." And I said, "Anything else for you today?" And he said, "No, that's it for her, but I do want to make another purchase using a separate credit card. And could you possibly create a different account for me?" And I said, "Sure, what are you looking for?" And he said, "Do you have anything that says girlfriend?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Perfect, I'll take it. And do you have anything that says happy 1-year anniversary to go with it?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Perfect, I'll take it." So I boxed everything up all nice and I put them in their respected bags. He had me mark a K for Kristen on the bottom of his wife's bag and an L for Laura on the bottom of his girlfriend's bag. I put pretty bows on them. I handed it to him. I said, "They're gonna love it. Have a nice day." And he said, "Thank you." And shit, I just remembered that his wife's name is Laura and his girlfriend's name is Kristen. I must have mixed up the bags. Oops.
Am I the asshole for having my wedding ceremony in sign language? I'm 24 female, deaf, and growing up, my parents got me bilateral cochlear implants and forced me into mainstream school. Never taught me sign language and never immersed me into my culture as a deaf person. They were actually pretty against me using ASL at all. Well, I took ASL in high school against my parents' wishes and then got into a deaf university. Although I couldn't sign fluently when I started, I finally felt accepted and understood. The deaf community was nothing but welcoming. I became fluent in ASL, and after a few months, I stopped wearing my processors completely as there was no need for them anymore. I honestly didn't realize how alone I had felt until I didn't feel that way anymore. I met my fiance at college. He is from a very large family of deaf people, and everyone is fluent in sign. We've been together 4 years now. He proposed last May. We've been planning the wedding and have decided to have it fully.
Some men are absolutely disgusting. Like, yuck, 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 yuck. Oh my God. So, I was just at the gym, being a baddie, trying to build a fatty bitch. And there's a guy working out next to me. And all of a sudden, a girl passes by and, he doesn't even look at her. Doesn't look at her face, just looks at her ass and, stares for a good 30 seconds. Like a weirdo. Like a straight 30 seconds. I understand peeking, 10 seconds, but 30 seconds just straight. And, there's nothing wrong with checking a girl out because some of these girls out here be fine. They be making you break your neck just to look at them because they're bad bitches, so it's well deserved. But the problem is, this man had the audacity to look at his friend and be like, "That's a hard sex." And then he started criticizing everything about this girl's body, even down to the fucking leggings she was wearing. Oh my God. But then, bitch, it got worse because then I started noticing that they were following different girls around the gym while they were doing their workouts, and they were rating them and critiquing them as to why they wouldn't or would smash. What the fuck? And in my head, I'm like, first of all, y'all are hardcores. I don't know why y'all talking when you look like the creepy uncles at the barbecue, bitch.
This is why you should always keep your phone charged. A girl named Marissa came home from school at around 3 p.m. She walked in the door and told her mom that some random number kept calling her all day. Her mom told her the person may have the wrong number and just to ignore it. Marissa said okay and begins to do her homework. A couple hours later, she receives a phone call from the same number. Marissa answers it this time and says, "Hello?" The man then says, "We finally found you. Don't worry, bunny." Marissa begins to panic and tells her mom what just happened. Her mom's face goes blank and says, "What did the man just call you?" Marissa says, "He called me bunny." Her mom yells and says, "Grab your stuff. We need to leave." Marissa, confused, packs her things and gets into the red car. Her mom begins driving fast and turns on the radio. The radio says, "The baby named Marissa who was kidnapped in the hospital 10 years ago has been found and police are searching for a red car." Marissa looks at the woman and says, "Who are you?" The woman looks back.
I had a crush on my brother's best friend. We're gonna call him Pedro. One day, my brother and Pedro had a plan to go to the beach together, and then Pedro invited me. And I was like, let me check if I have something to do. I don't. I'm going. I'm gonna go, Pedro. Don't worry. The night before, I was like, I need to look scandalous. Like, so scandalous. So I remember I wore this two-piece bathing suit. So long story short, the day came and we went to the beach. So we get to the water and immediately I go in. I wanted to show him, like, I'm a bra girl. Oh, this is the best part. So I'm coming out of the water and I'm trying to look like a baddie. Like, I'm trying to walk out all cute, like the hair is wet and everything. And I noticed Pedro was looking at my legs. So I was like, maybe he's trying to shoot his shot. So I went to go tell him something. And I was like, why do you keep looking at me? And he was like, look at your legs. I look at my legs. There's a whole ass piece of poop from the beach water.